Welcome to the Red Cup Talks. It's your girl, Pop Culture Micca.
And Just Right Jules.
We're going to go through all of the current events, everything, and just have discourse about it because I think it's going to be real good. So look, we're going to start off with a sip, like a little icebreaker. I thought this was funny, and I think you will find it funny. You got to read it, though. All right, I'm going to put this up on the screen. You got to read it while he's saying it. You got to read the podium, okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Been to prison.
You have
19 felonies,
times.
no convictions.
Yeah,
Knock it off. Prison and jail aren't the same. No. I've never been to prison.
You have
19 felonies,
times.
no convictions.
Yeah,
Knock it off. Prison and jail aren't the same. No.
You know,
I said, because you know how you always like felon. If y'all don't know, my friend Jules here is a stronghold Democrat. So a lot of times when we talk, she always talks to me about, Trump got 34 felonies. So when I seen this, I said, oh, this gonna be it right here. Because the podium was like Trump when he talked to Kamala. It was like, no. I've never been convicted.
I mean, of course you haven't been convicted because the people that gave you immunity was the people that you put in the Supreme Court.
Because you remember he got arrested. Jail and prison are not the same.
I mean, it's not the same, but we'll see what day he gets the debate. Whatever day he decides, apparently he's not. He wants to do it in his own space.
Well, no, I don't know if you know. He's actually suing ABC because ABC actually canceled it because him and Joe Biden wasn't doing it anymore. Mm-hmm. So they canceled that one, but they were still trying to keep that date. And he's like, they already got rid of it.
Right.
So we might as well just do a whole new one. And so, because sometimes I know candidates can get petty, but I actually agree with him on that because that was for Joe Biden. That's why ABC canceled it.
I respect that part, but this is where he messed up to me. You don't go and say what you fitting to do. Like you are the person trying to get back into the office. My thing is this, honestly and truthfully, we've already decided that we didn't want you back in the office the first time that Joe ran for president. So when we kicked your ass out the first time, my dog, you didn't need to come back for a second time. We don't even want you. I'll say that. But in retrospect, like if it's canceled through ABC, I get that because your contract was not with Kamala being the president. Yours was with Biden. So yes, now the deal is different. And I completely respect that. But for him to say what he's trying to do, I'm going to Fox with my people, with my questions, with my supporters. No, we're not doing that.
To be fair, he did the first one with CNN. And we all know CNN is left leaning.
Correct.
So that is fair. I do think they should do it like that on respective places that favor them because it gives the other person a chance to be like, okay, you were in a more, because they used to do that with the town hall meetings. Because I remember Barack Obama did it. You know what I'm saying? So Hillary did it. Hillary did the same. So I didn't see the problem with him asking to do it at Fox because he just did it with what's that guy's name? Is it not Stephanopoulos, but I forget his name. But he did the CNN one, right? And he doesn't like Trump. So, but Trump still did it. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I think it needs to be, a balance. If I can go over here where I'm not favorable, then you can come over here where you're not favorable.
I mean, the reality is this. Even if your deal was with Biden, you have a new person on the ticket. You reach out to her if you want to make new adjustments to the schedule. The American people should not be hearing it from Trump's mouth. If you guys have to figure, this is the part of the reasons why I don't like him. Okay. I don't like him because me as an adult, there are things that I would do differently because I'm mature and I know how to do things with class. If you want to change the date, the venue, the people that come through, then by all means, give Kamala a courtesy call and have your people call her people. Let's do lunch. Let's discuss this. We do not need to involve the American people in a situation right now. first and foremost, we already done look vulnerable as far as every other country, as far as we're concerned. We look vulnerable. We had Biden, who had to just pretty much drop out of the race because of his old age. And then we have an unhinged person running for president.
I don't know if he dropped out, because even your own party,
he wasn't in no
a lot
position.
of the Democrats are starting to question Nancy Pelosi, because apparently he got the call and was like, "Sir, no, you need to drop out." And I guess what's crazy to me is if he needs to drop out because he's too old, who's running the country?
He's still doing his job.
No, but that's what. No,
I don't think it's about. I mean, in retrospect, I don't think this is about the next 6 months. The reality is, if he was to go into office, that would be the next 4 years. What does the longevity of his man's life look like? We don't know that. There's no way that we can predict that. So if he feels like, hey, I can end this out and button up what I started, then by all means, like, who are we to criticize this man for dropping out of this race because his ageism, whether his party pushed him, whether he decided to do it based on his decisions of his own health, whether his family said, hey, Joe, we don't want you out here looking like that. My thing is this. Why would me as a parent, as a child, as a daughter, I'm not going to have my father out here embarrassing himself, barely can talk, barely can walk, and barely, like, for all that, I would rather the quality of his life. That is more important to me than my father running this country, which is going to be still here being crazy after he's long and gone. So Joe has done his job in the roles that he's had within the government and within the Congress, within the Senate, as president, as vice president. He's done his job. Let that man bow out gracefully. And I think that that's what most people in the Democratic Party feel right now. Nobody that really genuinely loves him is going to force him into that type of role if he can't fulfill his responsibility. So 6 months for him and he's out, great. Another 4 years of Joe, I don't think so.
Well, I honestly and truly, I didn't think he should have been running again anyway. And I said that from the beginning, right? Like, I'm not a Joe fan, but I'm also a human being. I saw that from the beginning. So all that cabinet they were doing with the whole, oh, he's fine. Y'all seen the same thing.
Mm-hmm. So we saw it in our own eyes, and I've seen
everybody saw it.
We saw it.
That tells me that they just
did. That's what the Democrats messed up at, and that's
where
I can admit that. I can admit where my Democrats messed up. They messed up at the fact that they could have started preparing Kamala for this role. So I agree with that. I agree with that. Do I understand the nature of Joe, Biden's health? I don't understand. I don't know the nature of his health. It's not really my concern. Him and the people closest to him know his condition. So I just feel like they couldn't push him out initially. They couldn't push him out and say, Joe, you can't do it. But see, most older people, they're in denial. They don't, like, and I talked about this before, they're in denial. They're like, oh, I'm not getting old. Like, it's some people that are old that can barely walk. They're like, I don't need no cane. It took my father for so long for him to say, I need the cane. But that's a part of aging, and we are not to criticize him in that. And honestly and truthfully, I'm going to say Donald Trump needs to stop criticizing Joe's age and older people, because he's literally like 3 years younger than Joe. And that's why I feel like we're going to see
but there's a big difference, right?
There's a big difference, because Trump has been a businessman making money, and bam, bam, bam. Joe has actually been doing stuff for this country. And
Joe is rich. What are you talking about?
Joe rich, but he's been doing stuff for this country.
Joe is a multi-millionaire.
He is rich.
He's been in politics longer than I've been alive.
He wasn't an entrepreneur. He don't have his name on buildings galore around his country, on his world. No,
he don't have his name on buildings, but he definitely is into real estate.
I mean, even if he is into real estate, they both made their living on two separate ways. So there's people, like, let's just be honest. My thing is this: JD Vance and me are like the same age. Would anybody know that I'm the same age as JD Vance? No.
Well, that's what I mean. But that's what I mean by Trump. Even though he's near the same age, there's a difference.
There is a difference. But Micca, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to be honestly. That karma that Donald Trump has yet to receive it's going to come hard. It's going to come harder than a bitch.
Well, we gonna get there.
He's going to get his karma.
Well, we gonna get
bad because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, damn, I knew I shouldn't have went that route. And I see it, like, I see it so clear. Like I seen, like, before the pandemic started, I had already a vision of the pandemic starting, because I already saw what we were going to be in for with a man like that at the helms of this country. So I'm trying to tell you that karma he gonna get. Well, we gonna get there. It's gonna be a very sad day. And Trump is on the lineup, so we gonna get the Trump. But I wanted to start with the most current thing, which is Kamala's VP pick. So, as everybody knows, it's Tim Walz. Well, at least you should know by now. But I didn't know this man from a can of paint. Okay. I don't live in the Midwest or near the Midwest, so I'm not always familiar with all of the stateside stuff when it comes to everybody, of course. So he is a governor, and he's the governor of Minnesota.
Okay, so here's the thing. Since I didn't know anything about him, I went and, looked up a lot of stuff. But for the sake of time here, I got a little montage of, somebody explaining it. Now, this guy is not a Democrat or Republican. He's just a reporter, whatever. And he's just explaining, I guess the good, bad, ugly, whatever, on Mr. Walz. So here we go.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to be her vice presidential running mate for the White House in 2024. He openly championed socialism during a White Dudes for Harris event.
Don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
Walz signed a bill eliminating the legal residency requirement for a driver's license in order to grant driver's licenses to illegal migrants, which makes it much easier for people who are here illegally to vote. I'm sure they're not doing it on purpose. He gave illegal migrants taxpayer-funded health care and tuition. He also signed a bill requiring schools to provide tampons in boys' bathrooms. Walz signed laws allowing minors to have surgeries to change their you-know-what without parental consent. So Tim Walz is basically Gavin Newsom, but without contacts and hair plugs. She's always wanted someone who could keep up with her on her race to the bottom.
Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Lord. I didn't even see that last part. But anywho, so there's a lot of stuff that I didn't know, good or bad, right? So being that this is your party, I'm going to let you talk about it first, but I'll let you speak to the good that you think.
I mean, it's not about the good that I think, it's the good that I know. So the first thing for sure was, and what I like about Walz is he obviously coined the term of Republicans or JD Vance and Trump are weird. That was his whole statement when Kamala was first announced to be president. In which case, I was online yesterday when it was announced, and it was just excitement for the Democratic Party or whatever. And so I was in the comments, and this young lady was like, "Yeah, he my old social studies teacher name is Tim Walz." And I'm like, "Girl, that's your social studies teacher." And she was like, "He is such a good teacher. There are so many of his students that are rallying around him as the hugger, as this champion of human rights." And I think at the end of the day, as much as people can say, "Oh, he's like the left extremist, he's so dangerous." My thing is this: is it really dangerous to give children in your neighborhood, your city, your state, free lunch? Is it really dangerous for women to make their own decisions for their body? Is it really dangerous for this guy who started out as a social studies teacher, was a teacher, went to the Army first? He's a veteran, and he was National Guard. He then came out, was social studies teacher, geography teacher. He saw some room for improvement in the Minnesota area. He then ran for office and became a House representative. Did that for 12 years. During that time, received money from the NRA for him to champion to go into being the governor. During that time, there was also a mass shooting that occurred. His daughter said to him, "Dad, you can't be supported by the NRA because at this point, the NRA needs to come up with some legislation for children and mass shooting." Guess what this guy did? They're not going to talk about this, but what he did was he actually sent them back the money and said, "No, I don't need your endorsement." To me, that's integrity. So I can go on and on about the things that I feel like he represents, but I think the most important thing that he has said is, to me, that is very vital, is to mind your damn business. And that's now the new coin tone that he's been taking the past week, which is just mind your business. Like, I don't need to know what you're doing in your house. You don't need to know what I'm doing in my house. What you believe in should not be imposed on any other person. And I think that instead of us,
I can agree with that part. Mm-hmm.
You can agree with that part, right? Mm-hmm. So therefore, a woman's choice should not be in the hands of the government. So there may be a lot of things where people can say it's very extreme, but at the same time, he's also allowing people to be freely who they want to be. Now, as far as the immigration go, I think that this is the most important part, is the driver's license, the immigrations, the pretty much taking the jobs from the Black people. I think that that's the reason why. But to be quite frankly honest with you, I think that he sees the humanity within the immigrants that are coming from these countries. Not all of them are bad. Not every. My thing is this. This is like this. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. Right. I don't know his rationale behind it. So I don't want to be attacked for something. I don't know his rationale behind it. I can only assume that he feels bad for the people that are coming here from other countries that are probably seeking some sense of asylum or whatever, or trying to flee other countries. He wants to give them opportunities because he understands whatever. I don't know. I'm just speaking for.
Well, I'm just assuming. I got you. But see,
but he should not take away from Americans. But I think there's more to it than what we know. And so I'm not going to speak to his rationale as to why the immigration situation is, where he can give illegal immigrants, the driver's license and grant them tuitions. I can't speak to that. I'm going to hope that within the next couple of weeks, we'll get some response to that. I'm hoping that him and Kamala are able to give us like some answers to some of the controversial topics that are centered around their name. So I say all that to say, like, I'm excited about this guy. And I'm really looking forward to the energy that he sparks into the Democratic Party right now. And I just hope that people understand that this is not necessarily about him being extreme to where we're going to be in a dangerous rat hole, but it's to say that he wants the American people to make decisions for themselves. And by choosing a JD Vance already has an agenda for what the American people, or what he deems as a standard of American people. And not every American can live to that standard JD Vance ideally wants. My thing is this: you're 40 years old. So why does it matter? Like, we were given the opportunity to be whatever we wanted to be. Allow people that come after us to have those same freedoms.
Okay, so here's my thing. I can I can look at all of it, right? I can look at all of it and say, is free lunch, is universal lunch a good thing? I've been in school, and I remember there were kids that unfortunately don't get to eat out, right? And it's not their fault that they're coming from those type of homes. So free lunch, breakfast, all of that, I can understand that, right? I don't know about universal, because if you have money, I don't know why we're spending money really to feed you. But rather here and there.
It's under a certain amount.
Okay. All right. So yeah, but I can understand that. So I don't really have a problem with that. My whole thing with him is exactly what you pointed to at the end, is immigration. Because immigration affects not just his constituents, it affects everybody. Right. And so before I get into what I'm going to say, it actually rolls into what I wanted to kind of even touch on with immigration. So I'm just going to show you this clip really quick, because a lot of people on both sides have, a thought process of what they think illegal immigration is, right? Whether you think, it's asylum seekers from certain countries, or whether you think it's just people coming from Mexico, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, it's way bigger than that. So I found this clip that I thought really spoke to this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna play it right now.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Why'd you come to Egypt? Why'd you come to America?
For a job.
For a job?
Yeah.
You know it's illegal to cross the border like this, right?
Yeah.
You don't care?
Yes, I'm okay.
Hi guys, where are you guys from?
Egypt.
What country? Egypt?
Egypt.
Where are you from? What country?
I am from Turkey.
Turkey?
Yeah.
All Turkey?
Kurdish.
Yeah.
America. I love America.
I love you.
I love America.
Where are you from?
From Egypt.
Egypt.
America.
Egypt. Guys, we got some pretty stunning data from our CBP contacts. Since October 1st here in San Diego sectors, there's been about 260,000 illegal immigrants apprehended by Border Patrol. We're told of that number, 78% of them have been released into the United States. And we're told that's primarily because a lot of the people crossing here are coming from countries where it is very difficult to deport people. They're not afraid of deportation. You heard that Jordanian guy tell me when I asked him, you don't care about crossing illegally? He says, yes, I don't care.
So I wanted to bring that because on both sides, they have whatever their thought process is. When I saw that, I commended that guy, for actually going down there to actually see who's crossing. So it's not just asylum seekers. Now you have people who literally know that you can go and fly to Mexico and then just walk across the border. And it's like some of those countries are on the quote unquote ban list from Obama. Okay. Not just Republicans, Obama ban. Because remember, Obama is the, Mr. Deporter in Chief. He didn't play that when it came to immigration. So you look at that and you're like, okay, so these are not asylum seekers. These are people who clearly know what they're doing. They're going to come here. They're going to get, captured by the Border Patrol. They're going to get processed, and then boom, they're released. And then they can go to these sanctuary cities or states and drain the resources, right? And so it brings me back to not only Kamala, but with Walz. I feel like they're doubling down on I don't care, right? And there's one thing to be a human rights thing, right? But there's another when you understand that you're changing certain demographics, right? Because if you look at New York right now, they're having a migrant issue there, right? And they had their first shelter in down in, I think, Tribeca. Ask them if that shelter's down in Tribeca now. So the same liberals, just the richer ones, the same liberals were like, what? No, send them up there, right? So now they're in neighborhoods that are already struggling, right? They're in shelters that were already, overflowing with people, veterans, homeless, things like that. And now we have to house you. We don't even take care of the homeless people here that are born here, let alone, giving them vouchers. As we all know, people spend years on a waiting list. You just got here. How did you get a voucher? Like, how does that happen? Right? Or in Walz's case, there are, and I might be telling too much, but one time, because I had a ticket, my license got suspended. Right? You gonna suspend my license, but go tell them that they gonna get a license for free. You gonna tell me when I move from a different county that I can't vote here. I got to do all this provisional stuff, and you don't have no social security card, and now you got a license, and now you can vote because you're registered when you got it, and you haven't been here nothing but a month. So to me, it's a slap in the face to the American people, because regardless of if I vote for you or not, you represent what I am, which is American, right? So you should be putting us first, and they're not. Because if you put a migrant first, in the name of human rights, well, guess what? There are people in your state that need help with human rights. If you go look in Washington, right? Seattle, Washington. Tons of homeless people. Why are y'all saying y'all sanctuary city? Why? Because like you got homeless people here. There's people moving literally because there's homeless people everywhere. And now they're breaking into cars. They're breaking into this. They're breaking into that. And now we have to deal with an extra population. It makes no sense. And to keep putting it under the guise of asylum seekers, it's just, to me, it's playing in our face. And that's going to go for Democrat or Republican or Independent.
I mean, I totally respect where you're coming from, and to that notion, I kind of feel mixed on it, because here it is. I'm an American citizen, Black, and I grew up in a suburban neighborhood with both my parents. Okay. So I don't know any other life other than this life that I've been living or whatever. I can't speak to any person that's coming from Turkey, from Jordan, from Egypt, from Mexico. I can't speak to those people. I don't know what the circumstances that they're coming into. I don't understand. I don't necessarily know what they're seeking from America per se, other than the freedoms of being able to do certain things that they weren't able to do in their country. Right. And which in that particular case, I feel bad for them. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't mean to cut you off, but not all the time is it, because my family is part of the Hispanic community. Right. Okay. In Cuba, a lot of people, in a lot of Hispanic countries, the people send the money back. They come here, they make their money, and then they send it back. So a lot of the times it's not always just because it's a foreign country. It's not that it's a bad country or that they haven't issues, but they'll come here and drain everything here and then send it back.
Okay. I'm not what I'm saying to you is this.
I know you're not saying that. I'm just
there's people, there's good and bad people on both sides of the situation. And there's some people that are genuinely coming here to start a new life. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure I have people in my family that came from other countries to start the American dream. Okay. And then you have people, whether they come here legally, illegally, however they get here, they're going to come here and they're going to always look out for home. They're always going to take care of wherever they came from. Who am I to knock someone for taking care of their home? At the same time, like you said, that the Americans need to take care, whether you're Republican, Democrat, you need to take care of home before you start pushing our resources out. So I don't really necessarily have an answer for the immigration problem, because quite frankly, me and you ain't getting paid enough to try to figure this problem out for them to take our little idea right here and then use it, and then we ain't getting no coins for it. So I'm not even about to we ain't doing all that. But what I will say, that I'm sure that there is a better way to do this. I'm sure that we need someone that is just as much in control, but yet compassionate at the same time, because like you said, there were a lot of families that were displaced during this process, especially during the pandemic. And that's why a lot of people are coming for Kamala's neck, because they're like, the thing about whatever with the pandemic, how she handled the migrants during the pandemic. The thing is, she did come into a situation where there was an already made pandemic. That's no excuse. Like you said, it's 3.5 years. There's a lot of things that could have been done, and maybe some things that we may see in the next term. But I also read, and I don't know the truth into this, and I'm just going to put it out there. I know Plies has become like my new favorite person. I'm going to say Plies.
You talking about the rapper?
Rapper Plies has been like a champion for the Democratic Party right now. And I'm here to say that we're not going to always get it right. Okay, we don't expect to get it right all the time, but at the same time, you need someone in a position that is going to have empathy and not have judgment towards these people. And so I don't have an answer for the immigrants. I don't know if they really have an answer, but at the same time, Donald Trump was in position for 4 years already. If it was such whatever, like, why we didn't put him back in office to continue where he was started? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so
if he was so good, why was he not reelected the first time? Like, why is it that if he was so good with immigration, if he was so good with border control, if he was so good with the economy, if he was so good, why didn't we vote him back in? I know we're going to talk about
well,
later,
but you got to remember, and this is the only grace that I give Joe Biden, and of course, on the other side with Trump.
Really?
Huh?
You said grace the Biden. So
this is the only grace this is the only grace that I'm going to give Joe Biden, because the pandemic was different. It was something different for both parties, well, all three parties, maybe more parties, but yeah, it's like it's uncharted territory. So the first year, I gave the grace to kind of see, so they can get in there and say, okay, this is what's been happening because this is the pandemic, okay, how can we fix this? Because it's given enough time to actually say, okay, yeah, this isn't working. Let's pivot to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. You can't lean on something, right? You can't keep leaning on the fact that the pandemic happened the last year. And I like to reiterate that, because they like to spin it because there's a lot of people that, I swear to goodness,
mm-hmm.
don't know politics or don't even know any information.
Mm-hmm.
The last year of Trump's presidency was the pandemic. All the other years, that's where you can say, okay, you liked or you disliked his policies. But the very last year is when the pandemic happened. So with that being said, there's new territory there, right? And it will be the same when you go into like Obama, right? From what Obama actually had to deal with came from the Clinton administration. Okay, so
and Clinton.
Well, no, Clinton was the one that passed the Glass-Steagall Act. Clinton was the one that did that with those mortgages, right? But he just kicked it down the road. So it didn't matter if it was going to be a Democrat or Republican. He didn't care. He kicked it down the road, and unfortunately, his party got stuck with it. So at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, when you're in uncharted territories, I understand that you need a little time to get in there. So that's why initially people gave Barack Obama a chance. So those people that are even like Democrats that are like, they voted for Obama the first time, they didn't vote for the second time, right? Because they gave him grace the first time. Mm-hmm. But after you're already in there and you're not doing what you need to be doing, now we're going to look at you sideways, right? And so that's why I'm like, okay, the first year, yeah, okay. Now it's like, it's 2024. What are y'all doing about immigration? Nothing. The same thing you were doing before. So like, and then
I think they've done some things. And I think, like, honestly and truthfully, I think there's more elements to that. You just got to find the right network or do a little bit more research in that capacity or whatever. But like I said before, if that were the case, if like what you're saying about we gave Obama grace, right? And we allowed him back in for that second term, why we didn't, if Trump was so great, why we didn't let him back in? If he
you got to remember, Trump was polarizing, though. You got to remember.
Okay.
He's a polarized. Okay, so
He
he's a
is.
polarizing figure because you got to remember
Yes.
there's tons of Democrats that don't like George Bush, but he still got voted in for 2 terms. Trump is one of the first in our generation. Okay, that is a polarizing figure, right?
Mhm.
So regardless, and then on top of that, his last year in office, the pandemic happens. So you have to factor all of that in, and it's fine.
I do, but this is the point. To that point, if I factor that in, Micca, then I would say, oh well, Trump. If I was a Trumper, I would say, well, he's already started dealing with the pandemic. I love the way he handled this pandemic. Why are we going to let him remove him from this position when he's already been doing such a
people that voted for him before were the same ones that voted for him.
But the thing about it is he didn't win. So then when you didn't win, you get upset and have a whole temper tantrum. My thing is this.
What are you talking about to that point? Because I think I know where you're going with it.
No, I don't want to go too deep because I know you're gonna have another question. So I'm gonna just on the surface. But what I'm saying is that, like, even in that pandemic, if he was such a great leader, if he was so many good things, then why was he not reelected then? You get what I'm trying to say? Like, if it was only a year and a half, if it was only a year that he was experiencing the pandemic, right? Only a year, in your words, or not even a year.
No, he got 9 months.
Yeah, you're in a pandemic for 9 months, right? At that point, people already knew what they were going to get from Biden to some degree because they'd already experienced Biden with the Obama administration. They knew that some of Biden's beliefs were going to be very similar to Barack Obama's policies in some cases. So why, instead of like voting Trump back in, why did they let Biden in? That's my only thing. If you were so good, if you were so great, why did they not vote you back in the second time you ran back for president? To me, that's where this is. Well,
to me, there's a number. To me, there's a number of different reasons. But I mean, even to speak to your point about Trump and I'm assuming you were going with the whole election thing, because you got to remember when Trump won, Hillary Clinton claimed the same thing.
Because she won a popular vote.
No. But that's not what wins elections, and we know
it isn't what wins elections. But
what did she say? No, but what did she say? She said
Russia.
No. She said there was that the ballots is wrong, that there was election interference, there was that she actually never conceded. Right. So she went on a whole tirade even after Trump got inaugurated, kept going. She filed lawsuits. She did all that same stuff. So what I'm saying is, and that's her right as a candidate to run, whether I agree with it or not. Right.
There was elements of the Russians had something to do with it. I'm just throwing that in there.
But no, because they found because Congress did their own, and they found out there was no Russian collusion. However, regardless of what you think about it or whatever was investigated, she said all of that and kept going on. So the problem that I usually have with Democrats is the hypocrisy, right? They will literally do something, and then when you do it, oh my God, it's the end of the world. It's like, ma'am, you just did it. I feel the same
way about Republicans, though.
You just did it.
I feel the same way about Republicans.
Oh no. I agree.
It's real.
I agree. That's why I'm an independent, because I vote. I told you I vote policy. I don't have a party, because sometimes it might be this, sometimes it might be that. Now, yes, I do vote more one way or the other because of my finances and other things, but I'm open to all, because if it benefits me, best believe I'm open to it all. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to, like the fact checking, that irritates my soul, right? And the reason why it irritates my soul is because we can watch CNN. They'll fact check, and we'll spend 2 hours talking about how we fact check Donald Trump. Not one time did I hear him, well, this is what Joe Biden said. Nobody gonna fact check Joe Biden? No, I watched it.
I've been watching it. No,
I did a whole live stream. I did a live stream. I did a whole live stream. So I was on it because me, Anton, and Quentin did a whole live stream. So we live streamed that the debate. The debate, yeah.
Okay.
And we stayed after to hear all the commentary. vanjones. He annoys my soul. I can listen to everybody on CNN, but
I like Vance. He's
I can't. He get the crying.
I might need a job, so I'm gonna say everything I need to say to get on the DNC.
Yeah, you do what you gotta do, boo. But I can't.
I do what I gotta do. But no, I mean, I will say this. It may not have been in that debate where the fact checking was happening, but I will say CNN has been very thorough on getting both sides.
They've gotten better. Like this go around, they gotten better. But what I'm just saying, the fact checking, and don't get me wrong, I'm using them because they were the last one. But the fact checking, right? It's like, can we get a fact checker for everybody? Because I can simply listen to somebody say something and Google it. And now, mind you, I'm not Google is not the end all be all, because Google tends to put up what they want, and that's for anybody, celebrities, everybody. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is, I can literally go look up something, and I'm like, y'all didn't call him on that. Why? Because that's your guy. Because that's your guy. And for me personally, on Republicans or Democrats, I don't care if that's your guy, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I want to know. I'm going to look it up anyway, but I want to know. So I don't have really a big love for the media anyway, because they're biased on both sides.
Both sides, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, the one thing I can say is I've recently been watching CNN more, and I'm like, okay, they have a Republican person coming in here to discuss the different sides. So what is the Trump team talking about? Or, like they went in on Walz earlier. I was like, oh, dang. And I'm like, which I had to check the channel to make sure that I was watching. I liked it. I like the fact that they're giving you both sides. Now, they may not did that during that particular debate, in which case they should give you both perspectives. But also at the same time, my thing is this: we know politicians gonna fabricate the truth to be in their benefit, and or lie to dismiss the other person that they're against. So what I want and what I would love, unfortunately, we're never going to
they like to say omit,
right? Just omit the part that they did. And what I like is what I love about a person or people in general is a person that can be accountable. If you wrong, say you wrong. If you're lying, like my thing is this: don't lie to me in my face, because once you lie to me in my face, I can never really trust anything to come out your mouth anymore. I have seen Trump countlessly times just lie, just blatantly lie. And I can honestly say that there's some times where I heard Kamala, she was a little off on something that she said recently. Was
it the border, when she's like, we have been to the border, and he was like, and this was a liberal, and he was like, you have not been to the border. I haven't been to Europe either. It's like, girl.
I'm not going to speak to what any person does or does not do if I don't know exactly what they've done. The only thing I can speak to is the stuff that I see for myself, know for myself. And I'm pretty much a good judge of character. And I can honestly say that there's some slights on both sides of the wheel. The one thing I will say about this new VP, because I know that was kind of where we started at some point, I really like him in a genuine way. I get a really good vibe off his energy. And I don't feel like he is going to bullshit us around. And I feel like America, we need to stop having people bullshitting us around. We need to stop trying to have people control us. And we need to stop having people that think they're better than the law. Because I don't care what position you are. If you do the crime, you need to do the fucking time. I don't care how much money you have. Me personally, I remember I had to go and spend the night in jail over a traffic violation. a traffic violation. Meanwhile, you have people out here that are getting hush money and all types of stuff that can run for president. I can't even.
So now we have a similar instance where you feel like, hey, as a citizen, this has happened to me, but yet you are allowing whatever, right, with somebody else or whatever. But a regular citizen has to do this. The same way I feel about the driver's license. It's the same thing. And we're on two different sides of the aisle. And that's what I mean by when stuff affects the people. That's what I mean.
If you don't think the fact that we have a person that pretty much has like dismissed the law, what precedents are we setting by allowing Trump, even if there are 34 convictions or however the case may be? However, Cat Williams that we spoke, however it's worded, right? 34. You have 34 counts. You have 34 counts, my bruh. You got 34 counts. I have one traffic violation. I get asked on that on resume. When I was trying to apply for the government, I had to put that on, a part of my background check because it was indeed, an arrest for traffic violation. The reality is now we have someone, they calling people out for felons being able to revote, but yet for being able to vote, like JD Vance, felons shouldn't be able to vote. Well, someone can make the argument that felons shouldn't be able to run for president. But at the same time, we're seeing this happen. And I feel like this is not going to look good 5 years down the road when we have him in office and people going to be like, yeah, America had that guy in there with 34 counts of convictions or whatever the case may be. They put him back in the office. He has no sense of real character. My thing is this: we are mature, right? I know y'all ass mature, classy, all that type of stuff. Trump's character is not even just about what he's done. It is the character and the man in which he is and what he represents to me that I don't like. And I don't want to put him in that position to think he's above everyone else and he can get away with anything, because we can't get away with the stuff that Trump is getting away with. And
okay, I would agree. I would agree that we can't get away with what a lot of the politicians get away with. That is correct.
Trump, because some politicians can't get away with Trump is
so to your point of somebody being above the law, well, when you're the head attorney and you go, yeah, I know I was supposed to give that DNA information, but I don't give a damn, and he's gonna go die on death row and be.
Did she say that? Did she say that death row?
No, but no. I'm not saying that's what she said verbatim. I'm saying when the judge asked her to do it, to give the DNA evidence that she purposely, this is on purpose, she purposely made sure that the courts didn't have. The governor had to step in. This is a Democratic governor.
I think it's more to that. I saw a documentary on it. It's more to that story. There's more to that.
No, you are a prosecutor. The man was innocent, and they asked you to give up the evidence. She decided, I don't have to do a daggone thing.
No, she spoke to it. She spoke to that. I watched the documentary.
They did a whole investigation on her.
Right. But
because she's acknowledged it. But
she's acknowledged it.
No, that's not a fault. If I know, Jules, if I know I have information
right
that you're innocent and I don't give it up, that's downright evil. And I'm going to death row. That's downright evil.
I can't defend what she did. I can't defend what she did in that moment. But what I can say is
you were gonna let that man die. The governor stopped it.
No, I got what you're saying. I can't defend what she did or why she did it. But what I can say is she has spoke to it and taken accountability for
she
where
did take accountability.
She has. I've seen the documentary. She spoke on it.
You think if that was your kid, you would be okay with Kamala speaking to it? Because let's be clear, like she likes to say, let's be clear, right? Let's be clear. Kamala is going to say whatever puts her in the best light. That man sat on death row. Nobody knows that hasn't been how it feels to know that you're going to die for something that you didn't even do. And there's evidence. And the person that is supposed to be for the people is blocking it.
Hey, I can't, like I said, I can't defend that. I'm
So
not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to defend anything that I don't agree with. I can't defend something that I don't agree with. I'm not saying you're defending it. I'm saying I don't want to. I'm saying it because you may understand that I ain't defending it, but somebody else watching it may think that I'm defending it. So I'm trying to make it clear so my words is not twisted. But no, I'm not defending what she did. Yeah. I don't know the rationale in her reasoning or why she did what she did. The only thing I can say is this, that every person that I know is faulty. You make decisions, you fuck up, but you got to own the decisions that you make. And I know I saw a documentary recently where she spoke to it and acknowledged where she could have done things differently. And so to me, I would rather you take accountability. You can be wrong. We can all be wrong at something in life, right? Like you said, a clock is right 2 times.
Clock is right twice, 2 times a day. Yes.
Times a day, okay, right? So we can all be wrong about something. But the thing about it is, once you're wrong, what type of accountability do you take being wrong? Because there's a lot of people that are so quick to point here and say, oh, this person did this and this person did that. But if they do something, they can't take the same accountability that they're expecting for other people. So my thing is this, if you're going to dish it or talk about someone else not taking accountability, I sure hope that you're taking accountability for some of the stuff that you're doing. Because at the end of the day, if you want to look at merit, all sins are equivalent to the same. The difference is when it comes to the law and legal elements, you can go to jail for 50 years. Or hold on,
if me and you do that, hold on. If me and you did that, right? Like there's a law, right, that you can't obstruct evidence.
Right.
Right. So if me and you are in the house and you know the police are coming for me and you go and I murder somebody, right? And you're coming for me and you go and hide the gun.
Obstruction doctor, I know. You're obstructing it. So I mean, I get that part. I'm not.
And that's when they're going to make you an accessory and all that other stuff, right?
So what's the difference between her doing that and Trump doing the 34 other things that he did?
So okay, so with there's no difference on the point. There's no difference on the point that you're trying to make, which is what I brought up. Now, do I agree with the charges? That's a whole nother point. But just to your point, that's why I brought it up. Because if you're going to say that this person can't hold office because they have the felonies, forget why he has them, forget if I agree with it or not, because he had, because he doesn't have them anymore, but he had the felonies, right? Then if you're going to say that's the reason why he can't, then by God, she can't hold office because she literally was going to let somebody die, like somebody's life gone. The only thing that affected Trump, the only thing that Trump's felonies would have affected was Trump. She was going to let somebody die on death row. And she knew he was.
The thing about it is, if Trump didn't do all he did, would he even be in office? But I mean, my thing is this, everything that he did, those 34 counts, a lot of those things would have made implications on him even getting into office. So in theory, like, I can't even like really even say his whole presidency going into the office is like legitimate. I understand why Hillary had questions. She did lose though. Hillary lost because people wasn't vote for Hillary. Okay. And people didn't vote for Hillary because Hillary didn't do the work to earn the vote. She did, like a lot of politicians, and especially a lot of Democratic politicians. She thought she already had it in the bag. I mean, I can say the same for McCain. He had it in the bag too. I think McCain could have very well thought he had it in the bag too. Everybody wants to go out there like they're a prize horse, that they're about to go and have this victorious win. Everybody, my thing is, you should be cheering yourself. I don't like Trump, but I appreciate his confidence. The thing is it comes a point in time where you have to, their confidence can come off as narcissistic if you're not taking ownership for where you're wrong. If Trump can point the finger at Kamala, can make fun of her names, ain't nobody up here making fun of Melania's name. Your wife is you haven't.
Oh, that's a lie now. That's a lie. When Melania made her little speech, they was like,
the Democrats were not making fun of Melania's
they
name.
said she couldn't speak.
No, the Democrats was not going around saying Malulu, Melanie, Melissa, whatever. They didn't do that. There's a certain, my thing is this, be mature. If you're going to be a president, be mature. If you're going to be vice president, be mature. Do not, my thing is this, I can talk about these policies all day until I'm blue in the face, but these jokers ain't mature enough to handle the responsibility that comes with it. That is my problem. That is my problem. They're not mature.
Kamala is mature because Kamala literally
Kamala has done her work.
Hold on.
Walz have done their work. They have shown
but Kamala sat on an interview after they asked her why was she locking up single mothers for truancy. She laughed. She was like, oh, well, they're kids. Oh well.
I love in awkward situations too.
No. This is a mature situation. You don't need to be laughing. Come on.
No, but when it comes to doing she is not out here saying, "Oh, Donnie D, like Donnie T." She's not doing that. There's levels to it. At the same time, like, what do you? I don't agree with what she did. First, let me go back and say I don't agree with her laughing at that, but I do laugh in awkward situations. Like a person can tell me something, I laugh because it's just like almost weird. I don't know, but that's neither here nor there. I don't support that. And I told you that before. I don't support her rationale with how she did that. I'm going to be honest about the things that I don't support within my own party, because that's what me personally, I'm taking accountability for the fact that I don't agree with everything. But there's a lot of other things that I do agree with, the things that mean something to me, the things that matter to myself, to my daughter, to the generations to come. This is the reason why I'm picking the president I am. So back to maturity level, if I have a boss that's always cracking jokes and making fun of someone that takes no sense of accountability, you know how they always say, like, the leader has the people, the culture has one thing. I cannot think of the statement right now, but it's like, you can have the power, but do you want the leadership? Like any person, like if you get power, you're feared. You know what I'm saying? Would you rather be feared or loved? And so Donald, he wants to be feared and loved. The difference is you can't put fear into people by doing the things that you think and thinking people gonna love you back. You're different.
You can't be
why you call that girl nasty? So my thing is this, Micca. I look at it like this: you ask hard questions, you bring up odd topics. Okay. So, and I tell you, Micca, I don't got the answer for this. Okay. I don't spin it.
No, and I appreciate, but I can see. I'm able to have discord with you and troll and all that, like I always tell you, because at least, whether I agree with your opinion or not, at least you're still like, let me go look it up. I'm telling you, I talk to some on either side, and it's just like, no, it's not. It's like, what? You didn't even know it until I told you. What are you?
Right. But I mean, like, if you tell me something I don't know, I'm going to do the research to just make sure. Okay, like, I don't have a problem educating myself to what I don't know. How else am I supposed to be a better person if I don't take the time to listen to educate myself? That's where Donald Trump lacks. He listens to stuff and does stuff for people so he can get the credit for that. I don't like people like that in my personal life. Don't do anything for me and think
that's what they all do for credit. That's literally what they all do. They all do it for credit.
There's a lot of people. I mean, like real humanitarians, you won't even know that they're giving so much money because they don't even want the credit or acknowledgement for it. Because
okay. So let me speak to that point. Let me speak to that point. Okay, so before Donald became most hated, Donald literally, like, there are Black companies that can go and tell you that Donald Trump funded them, and you never even knew it. He don't speak about it, right? There are.
He funded it.
Yeah, he cut the check. As a matter of fact, there's dang, I forget the guy's name, but he was talking about how Donald Trump funded his company, and when he got the capital back, he went to go pay Donald back, and Donald Trump put a check up in his face and was like, consider it a gift, whatever. And honestly and truly, he did that a lot. Even Jesse Jackson said that when he was running for president. He said there were black rich folk that wouldn't give him money. He literally went and funded the whole Rainbow Coalition.
Okay, he funded Kamala, I'm sure too. I think he sent her some money as well. This is the thing. I'm not discrediting. I will never discredit Donald Trump as a businessman. I would never do that. That would be insane. I've stayed at the Trump Towers. Now I will tell you this. I stayed at the Trump Towers in New Jersey, right? And I remember this shit, right? I hope one of my homegirls that was with me that day is on there. So it's funny. So we go in there. It's like my 23rd birthday. So we coming up on almost like however many years it's been, because my birthday coming up. Anyway, so we go to Trump Towers, and of course, like at this moment, Trump's name has been used in raps and this and that. Right. So I thought it was like a big deal to go to Trump in New Jersey. We get there, girl. I see Diddy. I see Jim Jones. I see like everybody, like everybody. So this is to say, I'm saying this to say, like, I understand what you mean, how people like Black culture supported Trump. I mean, it was like, it's a luxury to say that. But whole time we go gamble, we go to the 40-40 club, we come back to the room, we order some Popeyes chicken.
Now you're gonna get people. Now you can get people to try to figure out your age. You're gonna say 40-40 club, girl.
I don't even care. I have to be 40-40 soon. So hey, in less than however many days, in almost 30 days. Anyway, so we're at, we come back from the 40-40 club, girl. Mm-hmm. We got some Popeyes chicken. I don't even know where the hell we got this Popeyes chicken from. So we drunk. This is like, because Popeye, it wasn't like all these pop-ups like how they have now, where you can go to like and pizza or chicken place, like whatever. So we go. So we open the chicken. So we leave the chicken out that night. We wake up. That motherfucking chicken was full of ants. When I say the whole box had ants in it, it was like somebody had poured pepper on the chicken. So we opened the box, and I'm like, what? And honestly and truthfully, I'm still mad that I didn't get my money back, because I could at least, I was too young at the time to understand that I probably could have got some comps on Donald Trump. But I say all that to say, like,
he would have gave you, yeah.
I mean,
the whole doing that, yeah,
right. But I understand the nature and the impact that he's had in pop culture and business and real estate. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he is fit to run this country. I don't think they're not equivalent. Some people are good at some things and some people are not. Not everybody can be a coach of a football team, or not every person can be, a majorette person, a leader. Not everybody's meant to be in those types of roles. And I think that for me, that's where when he ran for president, I noticed the difference. And I noticed that, and I didn't like about him. And I felt bad, because here it is. This is Donald Trump. This is like the mogul, the real estate mogul, the richest, like one of the richest people in the country. He's been on damn Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, and all types of stuff. So of course you want to believe that this guy is like all good and glam. And like even this one guy when I was working,
there's nobody on the planet that is all good. I'm pretty sure even the nicest person. No, now anybody that says that any candidate, really, if you want to boil down to it, any candidate is just without
flaw. Right.
I was about to say something else, but however, now I was going to say something else, because I get into the deep state and all the other stuff. But nevertheless, if you're going to say that, then it's to make them non-human, because everybody doesn't tell everything. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the reasons why, like, when you get into politics, you got to be okay with people digging up your stuff, right? Because I remember when Kamala first said that she was running, right? Because they got into it a little bit during 2020, but you got to remember she got less than 2% of the vote, so they didn't really they didn't really dive into it because of the 2% vote. So okay, cool. But once she became a presidential candidate, oh, it's game on. Yeah, we're gonna go all the way back, right? And the whole sentiment of people saying, "Well, I don't like that they're gonna go through with a fine tooth comb." Yes, they are. I mean, the Secret Service agents, to be a Secret Service agent, they're gonna go back to your preschool. So
office because they will see
what puts Kamala above it, right? Nope, she's going to get it, like Donald, like anybody else, and rightfully so, right? Because if you're going to say that I'm going to run for the highest office, well then, yeah, I'm gonna run through it, and anything I find, I'm going to question you about, right? Or anything I think that I find it questionable, I'm going to question it. What I may think is questionable isn't what the next person may think, and that's totally fine. But we're all Americans, right? So I may think something is a little invasive, but hey, it's not off the table because you asked to run for this office. So that's why I don't get my panties in a bunch when people want to go and look up anything in the past, because if they're going to go look up something in his past, okay. What I think is nefarious for people to do is when people will go and try to make something different than it is, and that can go for any candidate, right? So if you're gonna say, oh well, let's just say with Kamala, right? Let's say Kamala didn't do none of the stuff that she did with Willie Brown, and they were like, oh well, she's a 304. Why does that matter? Like, I don't care that she was a 304 with Montel Williams, yeah. So I'm like, I wouldn't care about that.
Right.
The only reason that I even cared about the whole Willie Brown situation is because it was under public office, meaning you're doing like what's the Democrat, the guy, and I actually used to like this guy, the Democrat that his wife was on his wife was like having cancer. He was on one of the main tickets. His wife had cancer and he ended up getting caught with his side chick. He was running for president at the time. Edwards. Remember his name? Edwards.
Was it John Edwards?
He was young. He's like a young dude. He at the time he was like maybe like 38, something like that.
Hold on. Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, he was a young white guy. But my point in bringing him up was,
I know who you're talking about though.
He did that in public office. So had he been doing it anyway, wasn't nobody really cared. They'd have been like, oh, he doing this and that, but it wouldn't have mattered. But the fact that you were running for public office, your wife got cancer, and your side, it's who?
John Edwards.
John Edwards, yeah. I mean, he was actually I didn't have a problem with him. I don't know if I would have, if I had been able to vote at the time or whatever. But I'm just like, yeah, I remember that clearly. Like that came up because he was in office.
Yeah, that was right. Young. I was relatively young when that happened, but I think that's probably like maybe my second. I'd only voted one time at that point.
Yeah, that's why I said I don't think I was able to vote at the time, but I still remember that. Like that was a pivotal thing.
Like I wasn't able to vote at that time, but I'm like,
hey, look, I got to get all those in, child. Okay, you don't have to
Hey, I'm gonna take it. I mean, I respect the fact that people have a past. But it come a point in time where like you just gotta own it. So that's the reason why, for me, and what I would want my candidates to do, like on the Democratic ticket right now, is just own it. Kamala's next interview, because I know JD Vance keep calling her out, saying where's her policies, where's her when is she going to interview? Where's her interview? When she's going to start taking questions from reporters? And quite frankly, you know, honestly, 17 days into this, I'm not trying to give her no pass at all. But what I will say is, I would say it's pretty overwhelming. I'm a little bit overwhelmed with how much stuff is unfolded in 17 days of this presidential
It's not her first rodeo. She's already been the vice president, so she's
it's not her first rodeo. But I'm pretty sure that the numbers are coming and changing like rapidly. So at this point in time, she's on the clock. The same way how Trump pretty much put Obama and Michelle on the clock when they ain't endorsed her yet. I'm pretty sure that like they pretty much.
That's what Trump get petty. He told.
I can admit that, okay. But Trump has to understand, and this is why I worry so much about him in office, is because of his age, and people of that particular age, their mentals is not all the way like they don't take ownership. I don't know an old person over a certain age that says I was wrong. Okay. I don't know
but age is an ism.
Ageism is one thing. I know some people that's my age that don't take accountability. But
I'm saying it's an ism, so we can't condemn it because it's one of the isms, you know, sexism, racism, and
feminism. Narcissism.
So if we can't do something based off of somebody's gender or this and that third, unfortunately, Trump is old. But it is what it is. So what I'm saying is, you can't just say because he's old, because if that was applied to a woman, you know for a fact, they would be like, oh, so you're saying because she's an old woman?
I'm not saying that it's.
I know you're not saying it, but I'm saying that's the thing.
Yeah, I get it. I want to make sure I'm clear with it though, which is you just can't teach an old dog new tricks. Okay. Once a person gets set in their ways. So if a person has been narcissistic all their life, if a person has never had to take accountability, if their money has always gotten them out of things, for instance, guess what's going to happen? That's a dangerous person. That's more dangerous than any person to me ever. If you don't take
that's more dangerous than you're not actually working for the spot. You actually use the box to get where you wanted to go.
We said we weren't going to discuss whatever. It's about what she do when she get in those roles. It's about because at this point we can discuss how Trump got into his first presidency, but at that point we will be saying we will be going down the Hillary hole. At the Hillary hole.
The Hillary hole.
But I'm sorry. But I mean, at the end of the day, like who am I to question how people got their money, how they got to their positions? My thing is, what you gonna do once you get there? Can you own and champion that role once you get there? And I'm not trying to dismiss anything negative Kamala's done, and I'm not trying to weigh heavy on the things that Trump has done per se, because people still love him. People still love him with 34 counts. People still love him with his 5 kids and his 3 baby mamas. People still love him. I'm not here to knock who they love, but what you're not going to do is knock who I like. And because we coming from 2 different walks of life, people have to realize that, yeah, you're about your taxes because you make a certain amount of money. I'm about a different belief because I make another type of money and where I live at. So at the end of the day, nobody's going to get everything they want in the presidential candidate on one way, like Republicans. Not all of them like Donald, but shoot, they don't want to look bad, so they're going to stick beside him.
And that's the same thing. That's the same thing Roland Martin just said about Kamala, because they do not like Kamala like that. That's the reason why they didn't pick her the first time.
But they're going to stick beside her, and they're going to have a united front.
Right, but not you. But a lot of Democrats will give Republicans flat for Donald when you're again doing the same thing. You don't really like Kamala, but you don't want to lose the money, right? That Joe has. Oh, I will give it to Roland for once. He explained it just like that.
Because
so
I mean,
a lot of Dems do not like Kamala. They don't like her.
I mean,
a lot of Dems don't like her.
It's a lot of people that don't like her, but it's just as many people that hate Trump.
And it's just as
and
many
that's
people
the
that
reality.
hate.
I mean, because Trump has not made America great; he's made America hate, and that is that he has made America hate so much, and it has, because you know what, and you can do this later, like when we get off or however, because I was like so happy, like doing the little meta AI joint, and I just put in there, I said, I'm interested to see what type of facts they give. So I said, who was the better president between which administration was better, Trump administration or the Biden's administration?
Now you know you cannot ask Meta.
I did.
Because you know Meta, that's like asking. That's like asking X, right? So you know X. You know Elon Musk likes Trump, and you know what's my man that owns Facebook?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, Zuckerberg is a liberal. So that's why I said you can't ask Meta those questions.
That's why I'm telling you that. That's why I'm telling you to do this now. And I would encourage anybody to. It gave me a very non-biased perspective of both. It gave me the same amount of negatives of Trump is the same amount of negatives of Biden. The same positives not the same amount of positives Trump's had is the same amount of positives they gave me for Biden. It was a very non-biased response, and it actually gave me some more information in regards to Trump, in regards to the things that he's done for Black people. And it also gave me some things in regards to Biden. The one thing that they said differ, which was people are going to resonate with Trump if they're all about economical growth. They're going to more people are going to reside with Biden.
I can agree with that.
But you can agree with that. So it was a solid answer. And then on the Biden end, it was like you would vote Biden if you want more rights and more equality for DEI opportunities, which is also very accurate. So I say all that to say that there's pros and cons on both. So when you do the research, you have to look at these candidates and say, which one of these cons weigh really heavy on my heart that I just can't sit by and allow to happen. And the number one con for Trump was fueling racism and hate in this country.
Okay,
I
want to play a video for that because I know when you got into Trump, you were gonna talk about that point, right? I'm gonna let you finish what you're saying, but I want to play a video to that right after you finish. Go ahead.
Okay, no, but it's to say like they called out Trump with the hate and they called out Biden with the immigration, and so essentially, I felt like that was like a solid response considering the climate that we're in. I just encourage people to just like utilize all the resources that you have in hand to make sure you make like a very calculated decision on what makes sense for your lifestyle. So you can go ahead and play the video.
Okay. I want to play because it's not in my lineup, so I'm having to put it in here. But it just, to me, it kind of it speaks to what I knew may come up, and so I just really wanted to play it. Let's see if we have it here. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, hey there.
Okay. So I'm gonna play it from, I think it was it 5? Let me see. I think it was 3. Okay. All right, here we go.
And several times Biden was racist to show what you never saw. Enjoy my montage.
How do you feel about the recent endorsement from David Duke?
I didn't even know he endorsed me. David Duke endorsed me? Okay. All right. I disavow. Okay?
What you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community. with incredibly different attitudes about different things.
Joe says shit that even people with Tourette's go, no. No.
We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I disavowed David Duke, and I disavowed him the day before at a major news conference, which is surprising because he was at the major news conference. CNN was at the major news conference, and they heard me very easily disavow David Duke.
Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains.
Come here, Joe. Sit down.
What's really going on here is white supremacy is not a major force in anyone's life in 2020. But the media is pushing a hoax on us. Remember Jussie?
Okay, so all the other stuff is, but I watched that whole video, right? Because normally I hear the narrative that he never disavowed him. Through that half of that video, I swear to goodness, for the first 3 minutes, that guy plays, and it's too long to play here, but that guy plays every interview that Trump did where he's like, I disavow. And then he had a reporter that he disavowed with in 2016, and that same reporter during the Hillary Clinton and I'm not Hillary Clinton, I'm sorry, Biden came back and was like, do you disavow? He like, yeah, I was like, I told you that last time, right? And so whether somebody wants to believe or not, that's not my business, right? My point is that he said it, and then the media goes and says he never said it, and I'm like, it lives on the internet, like you can literally go and find it. So that's where it comes to me with the media and Trump, right? You can find this stuff. Why do y'all act like it doesn't exist? Right? Just like you can go and find those racist clips of Joe Biden. Put y'all back in chains while he's speaking to black people, and they literally booed him. These are black people he's talking to. They literally booed him, like, sir, did you really say that? Or, telling people that poor kids are just as good as white kids. Is like, who are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, he's said so much stuff, but the media did what they do with Joe Biden for some reason, act like they don't see that he's stumbling up the steps, act like they don't see that he's said tons of racist stuff. His own VP called him a racist during their little debate when she was on the debate side. Yeah, she said. Yeah,
and he said that Trump was damn near what's his name? He didn't say Putin. He said Hitler. JD called him Hitler.
No, I'm not. But everybody already know the attacks versus Trump. What I'm saying,
right? No, I can't agree with Joe with what he says in that regard. I do think the one he's out put you back in chains. I don't think he was whatever with the black folk. I think he was trying to say like put you back in chains with the regulations of whatever with the stock market. But it's easy. It's easy to mess.
But it's easy to get stuff out. But that was my point. It's easy to take stuff, except for the poor kid comment, like. He knew what he was saying. But it's easy to
everybody look at black kids as poor.
Oh, I know. Because poor, okay, so poor is a class, not a race. How poor and white kids got in the same thing.
It's some poor white kids. Let's just be 100%. It's some poor white kids and some trailers.
Correct. But he put poor and white, right? So he didn't say poor white kids are just as good as rich white kids. He didn't say poor black kids are just as good as rich black kids. He made a distinct difference between a class and a race. So who are you talking about?
Now, I'm never going to agree with anything that is like, that's janky. So
but what I'm saying, the reason why I bring it up is all I'm saying is that he gives grace from his quote unquote comments that are either quote unquote taken out of context or he meant that. Either way, he gets grace. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he do. So on the flip side of that, well, not necessarily the flip side. I respect where you're coming from, and I wholeheartedly get where you're coming from because those things shouldn't have been said. On the flip side to that, like if Trump is not a racist, if Trump has denounced the KKK, if Trump is all this other stuff, right, and he is for Black people and supporting Black people's rights and all these things, then how come when he was put into a position to run for office, it seemed like more of the white supremacists came out of the closet and more racism came out of the closet with him in that position? So, I mean, I know you don't know the answer to that. I know you don't really know the answer. I don't know. I know you don't know. There's no real answer to that. That's more of a rhetorical question. The question is more or less to say, like, I don't really know why Trump was able to fuel so many white supremacists. I don't understand why Trump was able to fuel all these racists. I don't know why it was, but I know I experienced it. And I know that that hate and that feeling was real during that term that he was in office. So I would be crazy to just dismiss that feeling that I felt when he was in office, because Joe on the other end, he's not perfect. And I'm not going to sit here and say that he is, because I'm not going to glorify any person that is racist or any person that makes racist remarks. And somebody can say to me, Julia, you know what? You might be a little racist too, you know, because of some of the stuff that I
think everybody's prejudiced. I do think everybody's prejudiced. There's a prejudice. There's a bias, right? And that just comes with your environment where you grow up. Like I think that happens all the time. And I think that 90% of the time is mostly, not all the time, but I think most of the time it is a prejudice. I don't think most of the time the person is racist. I think most of the time they have a prejudice, they have a bias, and yeah, they operate off of that. Most people do. So I can attest to that. I don't think just because you want to practice staying within your race, I don't think that's racist at all, right? Mm-hmm. Right? If you're a white person that wants white kids, what's wrong with that?
Oh no, that's not racist at all. I mean, that's just what you want.
No, but I've seen like stuff on the internet where people will be like, do you want to have, would you have kids with other races? And they're like, no. Oh, that's racist. No, he wants white kids. He's white. Just like you want, black kids, Hispanic kids, whatever, because that's what you are. Like, why are we making that a thing, right? Group economics and how you make your race or your ethnicity have generational wealth is by practicing that.
Right. So my question to you that is, do you feel like JD, considering, remember we were talking about his wife, you didn't know his wife was
I didn't know,
Native American. So here it is, he has children of his own that are mixed race. Mm-hmm. And so do you think that gives him a position to say more about Kamala, or should he maybe not make any comments about Kamala's race at this rate?
Well, see, to me, it kind of puts you like in a space where that culture. His wife is South Asian, right? Just like Kamala. She's a brown woman, right? So, and he has kids that are mixed kids. So with that being said, you're going to actually know about that culture and you're able to speak to it. So when I hear a person, of another race speak on that because they have kids from there, I give that more credence than I would if you didn't have it, right? Or you weren't attached to that culture in any type of way.
What would his children's race be?
What would his what? I'm sorry.
I said, what would his children's race be?
His children would be biracial because they would be Asian and white.
Asian, white, because they always say the father, and then the Asian part.
Yeah.
So,
there'll be a white Asian or whatever. I don't know what they call it.
Whatever they are. I say all that to say that like people always say Kamala this with her race, that and the other with her race. In theory, her father is Jamaican. Jamaicans are normally black.
I don't think Kamala's race is a problem. I think how she plays with it.
You remember that time I was at your house and my phone heard something and it started speaking
and it started talking again? I keep telling you, child cut him off.
Girl, that just scared me. Okay, so go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. No, I don't think Kamala's race is a problem. Kamala's race is nobody cares. But I think the reason why everybody cares, including black people, because black people been online talking about this a lot. The reason why I think it is because of how she plays with it. And honestly, if you want to get down to it, everybody knows how whatever your environment is and how you're raised. And people in this country got to get this through their head. Whoever is the head of your household, that is who sets the tone of, your tribe, your house, right? And so we talk about this all the time. I grew up in a white household. There's no absolute way my white daughter is going to teach me about being Hispanic, about being black. Like, this is not happening. He's white, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Everything else, if I want to learn about my other side, I would have to go seek that out, right? But if that is my culture, that's what I identify with. And there's nothing wrong with that, because that is a side of me, right? So when she tries to act like, I've always identified with both. Ma'am, when you've had tons of times to say and this, you don't say it. You say I this, because you identify as that. That's how your mama raised you. And that's fine.
Right. So I watched a documentary on her, right? Like just this past weekend. And I found it very insightful. Like she was discussing about her mom, and her mother was like a breast cancer researcher, and how a lot of times her parents were on the front lines during the civil rights movements. A lot of people didn't know that Kamala was with her parents in a stroller during the civil rights movements. So at the same time, if she started out walking the trails or marching with her parents on the civil rights movement, then why could we take any credence from her being a black woman or being raised
her mom?
black?
But you're saying she's so. I don't mean to cut you off, but you just said she's doing civil rights. Right. Everybody just because you're for civil rights, still don't make her mom black. Right.
It's about being on the right side of history. It's about exposing your children to the culture and the things in which they're going to grow up into. So if she was exposed to that, my thing is this. Is she, like, I seen a picture of her when she was in school. That girl was in school with black kids. Some kids, most of them kids was black. This was like her preschool picture. So
it had to be preschool, because from like first grade on up, she was in Canada. But go ahead.
But even if she was in Canada, she was still around black culture. Who am I to dismiss her? Like, my thing is this, like, I remember when my daughter was young, they used to say my daughter talk white. Why she can't just talk black? Why are we giving?
Or why she's not talking proper?
Why are we giving white culture or white people that credit? Because
but who said she talk white? But who said
a lot of people that used to say that she talk white because she talks, very proper. In the case,
no. I'm saying, what culture said that?
Black and white. She talks very well for a black. They didn't say like a black child, but they said, "Oh, she speaks very well."
They didn't say like Joe Biden. Articulate.
Very articulate. Oh, she's very smart but it's almost like you kind of almost know. But I mean, that's that systematic racism that we experience as black people. I say all that to say, like, in this particular situation, I'm not here to say that she's like all the way fully black, and I'm not here to discredit what black she was brought up into. But I don't think any of us can make the determination on how black or how South Asian she is if we did not live or walk in her shoes. So I think that people need to be very mindful of that, because I didn't walk in your shoes to know how you was raised with your granddad. And all I see is, to me, in my mind, I could just be looking at a light-skinned woman. You know what I'm saying? That has just
the problem is her, but the problem is her father. So
most people
when they say she's black, right? It don't take much. Everything is open to the public. The father literally wrote a whole essay. Why? I don't know. Okay. But a whole essay talking about, one, how he didn't like how his daughter made a mockery of Jamaicans, right? When she got up on the Breakfast Club talking about, of course I smoke. My family's Jamaican, right? As to say all Jamaicans are pot smokers and da 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 da. Like, come on, right? So he didn't like that. But when she kept saying black, he's like, you do know, which of course she knows. My family is Irish and Hindu Asian. Hindu Asians are Asians that are dark. We see them all the time. I'm not going to be stereotypic, but you see them all the time. Okay. So at the end of the day, those are not black people, meaning synonymous with Africa. Those are not African people. But we do know melanated people are everywhere on the planet. They are melanated people. They're not African, right? So when she says black, she knows that correlation is going to Africans, because in this country, these people that are black are African descendants of slaves. So she knows that.
I'm gonna tell you this now. Let me tell you how petty the person that I am. If I'm Kamala, I'm gonna do a little genetic thing and say, look, I'm this X amount of black. Leave me the F alone and let me run for president right now. Because quite frankly, if you gotta go through, my thing is this: I don't want to. If I gotta prove my blackness to you and I'm capable for this job, then by all means, that's a problem within itself.
But black what?
I think it doesn't matter. My thing is
it does, because you're trying to appeal to a group of people that you don't identify with.
I get your point and notion in that, but my whole thing is this: she's appealed to a black audience because she's been around black culture. My thing is this: she's been around black culture, even if her father, most people. Like, this is what I know. I know this to be true. I do know this to be true. You go to another country, they look at black people in a completely different way. The way we look at black and the way we cherish our black skin, you go to any other country and it's not going to be the same way, because the way we were brought up to believe in black is not the same in other countries. So whereas a Jamaican man, like her father I would assume, he may not want the connection to Black American or African Americans because of how we are.
But he's not of African
descent. I had to separate myself from it too.
But he's not of African descent, though. That's the problem.
I'm saying, I get that notion. What I'm saying to you, that he knows he's Jamaican, and people are going to put him in a black category because of his black skin. We, America, are the only ones that really generally do that. So
that's why I say she's playing on.
He's trying to not associate himself as being a Black American. However, where is Kamala born? In America. And if she were black, if she's born in America and she black, she black. So we need to stop trying.
No, because it's not the same. Because if you're a descendant of a slave, and again, you got to remember, if they were giving out reparations, you would be mad that Kamala is getting it, because her parents, especially the father,
right,
his family owned Negroes.
Okay.
He's not a descendant. He's not a descendant of any slave. That's what I'm saying. There is a difference. So what she's trying to do is appeal to who? The ADOS people or foundationally Black Americans. And it's not the same. The same way it wouldn't be, at least this person would actually be Black, but It wouldn't be, you wouldn't see a Nigerian American come over here and identify the same way, because there is a difference. Y'all gave poor Tyler, the singer, hell because she told you that she was, not you personally, but that she was mixed or in South Africa.
On that. Because don't nobody want, like, if you're from somewhere else, and what I noticed, most Black people from other parts of the world, not America, they don't even want to be considered Black in that capacity. So it's very easy for a person to say, I don't, even if they're from Africa, even if their lineage take them all the way back to the daggone circle of life in the middle of smack dag of Zamunda. Yeah. I'm just simply saying to you, they don't look at American Black people the same way across the country. So of course, someone of her father's age, he probably don't want to not like I'm not going to own that. I did But at the same time, what has Kamala done for the Black community over her course of her career? What has she done? And to me, that is what I'm labeling it and basing a lot of her stuff off of. And if she identifies as being a Black woman in this country, then who am I to tell her not to? My thing is this: what has she done for the Black people? Is she doing her job? Is she doing the job that she was appointed and took an oath to do? That is where I'm at with her. My thing is this: is she going to take accountability where she's wrong? That's what matters to me. Is she going to allow me and other women and other people to have their rights and their justices? Then I will vote for her. Is she going to say when there's a riot in the middle of the street that there are very fine people on both sides of the pool when a white woman lost her life? I don't think so. So what I'm saying to you is I'm voting for compassion. I'm voting for empathy over narcissistic old Washington ways. So, and I mean, far as Donald Trump, I don't care that Donald Trump was married 3 times. I don't care that Donald Trump has 5 kids, more kids to love, by God. But at the same time, I care about the character and what he is evoking into this country, and that I don't like.
But he did, but to that statement, and that was in that video also. And I had never seen, and just me personally, I had never seen the entirety of what he said, right? Mm-hmm. I've only heard that little clip that you just said. Mm-hmm. And I saw it for the first time yesterday when I, did clip the video, and it said, he said, now out there, there were very fine people on both sides, right? But not even a second later, after he said both sides, he said, and I'm not talking about the white nationalists and the KKK. Like, he literally said it right after. So I said, oh, so y'all literally cut that off to where that part only played. Because right after it had everybody else heard the rest of that, there would be no way you got that feeling from what he said. He said this. He said the same thing when it came to the BLM riots, right? Because there were people out there actually marching, and we in the DC area, okay? There were people out there actually marching, and then there was agitators,
right?
Antifa, things like that. And there were a lot of Black people out here. There were Black people calling it out, like, "Hey, this is not us doing all of this. This is this group." And Black people started calling it out, right? It was being attached to them.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was being attached to them because people were like, "Oh, look what them Black people doing." But they were literally sending people here to agitate, and they knew that it was going to be attached to the Black people. When I tell you the rabbit hole goes deep,
it's a lot more to it. But I'm not going to sit here and say that this dude. Like I said, I'm a good judge of character. I've been very accurate. I'm like 10 for 10 on character. Okay, 10 for 10.
But he said that right after he said both sides, and he said, and I'm not talking about. He literally said that, and I'm not.
I've never seen it. I'll go look for it. I never.
No. You don't have to look for it. I got it. But go ahead.
It's come up again, and it's a matter of the defense in which he plays into it. So I'll check it out. But I mean, at the same time, it's still something about, like I said, his character is flawed. And if we're going to talk about leadership, if we're going to talk about uniting the country, he's not the one to do that. Because if he was so good, he would have been he would be in office right now. He would be in office right now. And that's honest.
That's like to say,
what other president got out of office, was out of term, and then went back and ran and won?
Well, nobody ever tried it, but let's be clear.
Right.
Jimmy Carter only had one term. There's tons of one-term presidents.
Jimmy Carter saying, I'm staying alive to vote for Kamala. So
Jimmy Carter only had one term, and his own party called him a lame duck.
And same with Ronald Reagan and what Bush too, maybe a little bit big Bush. But
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's tons of presidents that only had one term.
But
hey there.
I think it's
Timmy Cavon by tells us Donald Trump.
I'm not talking about the neo.
Do that together. Obviously, the media tells us Donald Trump is the racist, so that's going to be pretty easy. After all, he did call white supremacists fine people. Remember? Show the clip.
They were people protesting very quietly the taking down of the statue of Robert E. Lee. People that were very fine people on both sides. And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists.
That is what I never saw. I just saw, and you know, I will say what I saw. I've never saw that. And that's via Fox and via CNN and anything. I've never saw that whole thing. Okay. They've been arguing that one little clip. I never saw that. And that's why I said he said it on not just that side. He said it when it came to the BLM. That's how I found out about Antifa. Okay. Because those people, there's always agitators. When I say, Jules, that they don't want people sticking together, right? You can disagree on something. And that's what he was saying. He was saying there was people out there protesting the fact that they were taking down the statues, right? Whether you agree with it or not, they were just protesting. But then you had agitators like the neo-Nazi people and da-da-da-da. And that's why he said right after that, I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and I forgot the white nationalists. He said, because they should be condemned. But in that group, there were real protesters. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is, it's like they give you stuff to be inflamed about. If you don't like the man's policies, you don't like the man's policies, and that is fine. But to sit here and cut that clip to where even a person that don't have a problem with Donald Trump never seen that is crazy. I've never seen it.
You've never seen what?
I've never seen that whole clip. I only saw
I've
that.
never seen that whole clip.
But that's a problem. And we're on two different sides of the aisle. That's what I'm telling you. It's the media and what they do with politics is crazy. Because why we never seen all that?
I mean, at the end of the day, because this is the thing about when you start talking reckless all the time, people just coin you as that. And when you and it's like they're like, oh, is this something Trump will say? Yes, this is something Trump will say. So it's like that's where somewhat like the character part of him is like for instance, if I say something real like, man, F Kamala, and someone told you, yeah, Jules said F Kamala, you'll be like, nah, Jules ain't say that. I know Jules ain't say that. But if I say F Trump, you'll be like, yeah, Jules probably said that. Jules probably said that, because you know me enough to say, like, that's something.
Right, but I know you. So, what if I don't know?
Whatever. So what happens is when you start putting on this air, then and you start saying anything out of your mouth, it's easier for people to put stuff in your mouth because you say anything out of your mouth. So that's why I'm like, he has to take some sense of account. He has never taken accountability for where he's wrong. Even if I'm wrong, I could say, hey, I ain't know he said that. I ain't see the whole video, right? Mm-hmm. It takes a real woman and it takes a real man to take accountability where you're wrong. Okay, that's the first part of being an adult.
I can agree that some people will find him abrasive, right? Like he's not just like off of just him, right? Not even in politics. A lot of people found him abrasive when he was on the Apprentice, right? Mm-hmm. So I can understand that. I don't have a problem with that. Some people think he's an a-hole. I don't have a problem with that, right? I don't have a problem with it. My problem comes in, like I said, when the media starts to use that to curve people's idea, whether you wanted to vote for him or not. Like, to me, the media's job should be to show the facts, regardless of if I'm going to, like, if somebody asks me something about Joe Biden, I would tell them to go to his website. Now, if you ask me my opinion, I would tell you, no, I don't like his policies, woo, 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 woo. But I'm not going to be like, yeah, go to this I hate Joe Biden website where I know they might not even list all his policies. I'm not going to tell them to do that, because I want somebody to have an informed decision whether they're on my side of belief or not. Right. And I feel like the media does a disservice not only to liberals, but to everybody.
Yeah, to everybody.
Because you're not
good that we don't agree, because this way someone that might be more lenient towards my perspective can also educate themselves by what you're saying. The same way on the flip side, the stuff that I said about Walz, you're now a little bit more informed about him and the other good things that he's done. Because it's easy for
the first thing that you told me when you said it's Walz, I said, hey, I'm gonna have to look that up because I don't know him. I didn't say because he's a Democrat. I said, let me look it up. I'll be back later.
Yeah, you be back later. And I mean, my thing is this, but I mean, I can sit here and talk about like every negative. I mean, everybody got flaws. Everybody got their things. It's easy to always point out a person's flaws before you point out the positive. And that's what's so doomed about this country, right? Because I'm like, what I like about Walz is he's like, we happy in Minnesota. We this in Minnesota. And even if they're not the happiest people because of inflation and gas prices and stuff like that, it seemed good to have a person with that type of energy and not so negative and so draining or whatever. And I honestly, you and me both on our little we on our manifestation journeys. We know our frequencies gotta be high and lifted, and I want more of that in this country. I want more, like, I know we can't get it peaches and creams or like it's not gonna be like the Wizard of Oz. It's not gonna be like this whole rainbow or anything like that.
I understand exactly what you're getting at, but I don't.
It's not possible.
I don't think it's exacerbated by Trump. I think he's the catalyst that they use, because he's not the first president to say abrasive things. He's not the first president to have difference of opinions. Like at the end of the day, I think the media just uses it to get what they want, so they can have a sense of well, we can use this. Like I think it was a time when he was talking about masculinity, right? And they were like, oh, so if you want to be masculine, then you're against LGBT people. How do you get that out of that? Like, how do you get, I want my son to be masculine, out of that? Or how do you get him being a woman hater because he wants to be masculine? Like, the stuff it'd be mind boggling. And for the life of me, I can go to the other side. It'd be, sometimes I hear it, like, I'll cut it off if I hear the conservative side say something stupid. I'll just be like, well, I don't like her, but I ain't hear all that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, the media just be getting on my nerves. It literally gets on my nerves.
I'm gonna drop this in because I know we're about to end soon, but that Bruce Jenner Caitlyn joint took me out, because I'm just like, now this is the only thing I'm gonna say to this, right?
Y'all be like, that's y'all fault. That's y'all fault.
Hey. Look, my thing is this: Bruce, Caitlyn,
I'm gonna let y'all have
the Democrats that you got the right to turn into.
I said it's your fault. That's why I said I'm gonna let you have this.
But that's why it's funny to me, because I'm like, dude, like, do you realize? I don't know if your people on your side is okay with you even being Caitlyn. And so to me, it's like, here hooping and hollering about certain stuff with the Democrats.
I don't
But
know
you
why
won't
I
be a
listen to her.
woman. My thing is this, Caitlin. You the
Oh,
only reason
her.
why you
I'm sorry. I don't know why I listen to her.
Yes, Mrs. Trenchbolt needs to shut up. Okay? Because my thing is this: Trenchbolt, Bruce Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner. However, I'm not okay. So one, this is not a knock to anybody that chooses to transition. Okay, this is a knock to a person that transitions, that their own party is not okay with them being a woman and a natural born man. And to me, that's like crazy to me. And that's why it's like so many people that are like Trump does not agree with all that, but yet you vote for that.
You don't have like. That's the thing. I think we spend too much time as people like caring what somebody agrees with, right? Like there are people that, like when I grew up, you know, people wanted to spank their children. Nowadays, nobody agrees with it, right? Does that make the people, you know, from back then abusers? Because that damn near be everybody's family.
Yeah. I would like to say it was.
You just mad because you got mad.
As many times as many
I ain't getting none. I ain't getting none.
Going outside. But you know what? I don't disagree with them disciplining us. I don't disagree with that, because when you create a disciplined environment, you have a better chance of having a better child. If you spoil the rod, that whatever the saying may be, I'm horrible with saying.
Yes, spoil the rod, spoil the child. Yes.
Right. So in an event like that, if you allow a person to get away with too much, guess what? If you spoil your child and allow them to get with a lot, they're gonna think they have full control of your house.
Right.
You're
so
gonna have
you're
a
not
baby boss. You're not little baby boss.
You're not with that gentle.
Yeah. So I say that to say, like, what is a result of a person that's never taken accountability or taken ownership and is never disciplined for when they're wrong? What does that eventually create?
I think he does. But I do think that he does have moments where, and I think we all do, but we're not all on a stage like he is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do think he does have moments where I said what I said, right? But I think the problem is it's taken as more than that, and it's like I said earlier, right? If you don't agree with what he said, that's perfectly fine, right? The problem is, to me, he's never given the grace for it, right? And you don't have to give him grace, but you can't sit there and say, man, you never take accountability, when I've yet to hear Joe Biden apologize for saying, well, you ain't black. Who are you to tell me who's black? Because I don't vote for you? Like, that's crazy. That's a crazy statement. And for a black, dark-skinned man not to check him on it was even worse.
I mean, it's going to be what it's going to be.
That would have been internet stream. I'd have been like, sir.
I mean, I can't. Like I said, I can't defend anything that's wrong, and I'm not going to say.
I know you can't defend it, but I'm talking about the media. Had that been Trump saying, "Well, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black," they'd have been like, "Oh my God, it's racist." Because it is.
Trump, to me, had an advantage going into the first term to some degree, because people still looked at him as this treasured Trump of Trump Towers, the real estate mogul, bam, bam, bam. The name recognition always gets you into office. Name recognition is huge. So I say that to say that how is it that he was so many things to pop culture for him to then run for president and all of that flip like a switch? So there's more to it in that. And I mean, I'm not here to defend Joe. I ain't here to defend Trump, because guess what? Them motherfuckers ain't gonna defend me as a black woman in this country. So why I'm gonna go to bat for them if they're not doing that for me? So I'll say in conclusion, like, I just feel like, hey, Trump has ways that he can win this election, and there's ways that Kamala can win this election. And in my opinion, this is how I think that either one of them have the opportunity to win. Trump can make this whole claim to fame of being this aggressive, whatever person that he is that we've seen however many years, very like just say anything out of his mouth. Trump's going to have to show a little bit more compassion and take some accountability in order for him to get some people's vote. Kamala is going to have to answer some questions on the flip side as to why the past 3.5 years have been what the past 3.5 years have been. And she's also going to have to show her policies on how she's trying to make it better. Those are the only ways that either one of them can win, in my opinion. Now, if one of their people are watching this, they need to take some notes, because JD Vance is the one out here doing all the campaigning right now. Trump, I don't know where Trump is. Maybe he didn't get clearance from his parole officer. No, I mean, he's pending a trial September 18th. We'll see how that goes. So maybe he couldn't get clearance to travel. I'm not trying to be funny, but I am being dead ass serious. I mean, because there's a reason why he's not traveling nowhere this week. He's not nowhere. JD Vance is pretty much hitting the same territories as Kamala. Nobody wants to see JD Vance though.
That's because the swing states.
They are the swing states, but nobody cares about nobody. First and foremost, half the Republicans don't even like JD Vance. It's like 25% that may be like, hey, I mean, he's on the ticket. We're just gonna vote Trump. But it's a lot of them. It's a majority of them that do not like him, and then it's another part.
Then it bows back to the same. Most of the Democrats said they was voting for Joe Biden, not Kamala.
Right, but that's not where I'm at right now. My point, what I'm trying to make, let's stay focused, like you said.
No, I'm saying sometimes the VP pick, and I already told you how I felt about the VP pick. Sometimes the VP pick is just like,
I know how you feel about him, so I ain't going whatever. But that's why I'm saying to myself, like, why is he the person out there doing like going and doing these, hitting up these cities? If you don't even like him, my thing is this: what is the catch to JD doing it and Trump and JD not doing this together? You know what I'm saying? So I say that to say Trump can redeem, like Trump could possibly win if he says, hey, yeah, I said this, I said that, I shouldn't have said that about the black reporter that interviewed me. Like sure, the lady wasn't a nasty lady. She's asking me the questions. And in turn, for instance, I would love for them to come on this show. I would love, I'm saying this, I'm just putting this in the atmosphere. Like, shit, have a sit down with Trump. I mean, he can win and talk to that little white boy on the podcast. That white boy didn't even know that it was the Trump Supreme Court that overturned.
But you want to know, it wasn't the boy. See, and this is one thing that you kind of hit me too. You said that Trump is a good marketer. He pays attention. So right now, the young people are not the young people of 2010, right? Mm-hmm. The young people now, they're all on the internet. They're all streaming. Right. So I'm not gonna stomp at the colleges. I'm gonna go where the young people are. So to me, that was a smart idea. Forget the boy. You know what I mean?
I would never
I'm trying to reach his audience, right? And if Kamala would have did that, I would have been like,
well, that's what I'm getting at. I'm getting at. My point is this: I would love for them to come and have a sit down. Like if Trump had come on this show and have a sit down. And my thing is this: I know you ain't gonna ask him just some rinky-dink questions like, so Trump, like, what are your plans? Like, I know you're gonna ask him.
But I agree with you on that point, because outside of and Dr. Umar spoke to this. Mm-hmm. Outside of everything they're talking about from that interview with the journalist, Aiden. I thought, regardless of how you feel about this man, I thought that initial journalist missed a prime opportunity to sit in his face and ask him real questions. Since he said, I champion this for black people. Well, guess what you could have sat there and said? Okay, let's talk about your jobs report with black people, right? And how it actually went. And you could have asked him real questions, right? Not nonsense that we hear in the media that that's actually an opinion, right? Whether or not you think he's this or not, like stuff that comes from opinion. Ask him questions on them policies, ask him questions about that platinum plan, ask him questions about opportunity zones, like ask him those questions, the questions that would actually made him have to stand on business.
I think that is a clear point, but I also think that it's almost like, let me find out if this mofo even liked me in the beginning before I even.
Who cares if he like you? He trying to get your vote.
I mean, my thing is this:
he brought himself down there. Who cares if
I will say
you
this.
want my vote? You gonna have to beg for it. So tell me.
I will say this: did the journalist come out hot? Shawty came out hot. She did. I will say that.
But she should have came out hot with some stats, some facts like that to answer, so the black people can get to that. Because otherwise, we're sitting here talking semantics. Did he say it? Did he say it? Did he say it? No, make him stand on business and tell him.
I agree with you on that. But the thing is, if you come at me on attack first, I got every right to be defensive. This is the one time I'm going to give that man some grace, because I feel like it was an out the gate question. Yeah. I feel like you warm, if you know it's going to get uncomfortable. You know he's dodged so many questions about so many different topics. He's going to deflect. We know what we're going to get from him. So to come at a person that you know that you don't really like with the hardest question, a difficult question, that's probably not the best approach. People don't know the approach to stuff. If you need to know how to approach people with tough situations, come talk to me and I can tell you how to do it. But that wasn't the way to do it. You got to kind of Trump is a narcissist. He wants you to like give in to him. He wants to be acknowledged. He wants to be congratulated. He likes to hear he's doing a good job. He likes the compliments. It feeds his ego. That's why when he put that black girl on the stage, he ain't put her up there just because he wanted people to know that he liked black people. He wanted y'all to know that black people love him. And so the black girl that spoke when he was in Atlanta.
Michaela, yeah, I like Michaela. But that's what you're supposed. Hold on, that's what you're supposed to do though. Like you're supposed. What is right for Kamala? She wants you to know that white men like her.
No, but I'm saying that to say that if the journalist would have came at it like Hannah, almost stroking his ego. I'm saying I only mentioned this girl, and I don't even need to go into details about that girl because the girl is the girl. He saved her school. Perfect. I'm happy he saved your school, Michaela. But guess what? Biden and the Harris administration forgave me of my student loans. So thank you, Biden Harris, for forgiving me of my student loans. I say all that to say, if they would have came out the back and would have stroked Trump's ego just a little, just like, so Trump, how are you doing? How's Melania? How's the family? Oh yeah, Melania's doing great. Brian is great. Vanka's da-da-da-da-da. And then say, okay, well, you know, former President Trump, I hate to go into the tough questions, but our black community want to know these answers. So
okay, so look how you did that. I would have shifted. But look how you did that. Regardless if I think that you're right in assessment or not, look how you just did that. Because of what you think that how he is, right? This is your assessment. Mm-hmm. You sat there and assessed a way to still get your answers.
I did.
So what I'm saying is, if this is your job,
how you don't know how to do your job? I'm not disagreeing with you. So I'm just saying, I'm not disagreeing with you. I do think
I know. But I'm saying, how you don't know how to do your job? Like, do your job and get those questions. Like, if Kamala said right now, I would interview with you. I don't care for Kamala like that, but I wouldn't be. Well, you know, I heard about Willie Brown. Like, that's not about to be my first question because I barely care, right? And it may garner some laughs and some views or whatever, but it's not gonna get the American people what I want to know, which is her policies. So the laughs and the chuckles, I get, right? I get, or you stuck it to him because you don't really like him. I get it. But did you really get what the people needed? No. And that was my problem with the entire thing. But I did agree with Roland Martin, surprisingly, when he said surprisingly, when he said he thought he didn't understand why they didn't have any black men up there.
Right. And that was another one of those things too, because I feel like black men almost command a different type of level of respect. And I also feel like Donald Trump has more respect for black men over black women.
Well, let's be clear.
And that's just white men in general, honestly.
Let's be clear. It's a man. Okay.
Man,
like we
right.
try to act like we don't understand these things, right? Men or strength in anything. Yeah, they understand that with each other. So again, you play to your strengths. If you're gonna have a conversation, there's questions that women would ask, and then there's questions that men would ask. This is supposed to be the Black community. A bunch of chicks sitting on the stage by themselves. It's not a community. You would have never went to the white nothing with just white women.
But I can even add to that point where you had a guy in the audience that was kind of like having commentary throughout, and Trump was like, "Hey, you must be with the Kamala team because
that's his thing. That's his thing when he go in the audience, because he used to do that depressed. That's his thing.
Yeah, I mean, no, the guy was making sounds throughout. Like the guy was talking throughout.
It's but he ain't he's not on the stage. He's not like a journalist talking to him, right? Yeah. And actually asking him points, right? Because
like a heckler. He was a heckler,
right? Because and I can understand that, because if it was Kamala up there, somebody was like, "Whoa, Willie Brown," I'm like, "Shut the hell up."
But at the same time, that's where it comes back to what Roland said, which is there needed a male perspective on there to answer the questions from a male's view. Now, granted, the interview was relatively short because I'm pretty sure it went due south somewhere along the line. But yeah, you're right. She should have asked him the tough questions. I would love for, I'm just going to put it, I'm going to keep saying it. Like Donald Trump could come on here and you can ask him some daggone questions, because my thing is this: if he was willing to go on that white boy show, then why not come on a show like this? And I mean, quite frankly, answer those tough questions. You know what I'm saying? Answer those tough questions.
I would definitely love it. And it's not about, whether or not, I lean more one way or the other. I would love to hear answers.
Right.
Just because I think you're the better candidate doesn't mean I'm not going to ask you no questions. Right. And so, I think a lot of times both sides get comfortable with that. Right. Like, I know they like me, so they're not going to, no, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you because I can like you all I want, or I can think you're the better candidate all I want.
Right.
But I need to know specifics. And so I'll say this. At the end of the day, every time we talk, every time we do this, I keep saying we're saying the same thing. And I just wish everybody, except for the extreme people, because it's extreme people, yes. Like they be getting on my nerves. Like the extreme, we talked about this before, the extremists. Like, I'm just like, you can meet in the middle, because I think most people are in the middle. I think most of us are in the middle, right? You can lean a little bit this way, you can lean a little bit this way in order for everybody to try to get at least most of what they want, right? And so I think if we start focusing on that, but I think politics in America is so bipolar. Like, it's so bipolar, and it's theater to focus on keeping us apart. When I say, from being a mixed race person, I can tell you from both sides, I didn't heard the same thing. I'm like, damn, they be talking about that on this side. Damn, because everybody wants the same thing, right?
They do. It's hypocrisy on both sides, and it's like, just because your party did one thing and this party did the same exact thing, just because they did it differently under different parties doesn't make it any worse or better. It's just to say, it's just like, take account of, if you're going to call Kamala out for some of the things that she's done, call your party out for the things that they've done wrong too. My thing is this: we so busy.
The party has done a lot wrong, right? I talk about Democrats a lot because they've been in charge in the latter years, but the Republicans are the same. Like, I did not like George Bush. I did not like George Bush. I didn't like a lot of his policies. So I can call that out too. But the problem the problem is, again, most people are so polarized that they can't see through it. Like their party is their God. I swear to goodness.
No, it's not even so. It's that. But in addition to that, everybody's so busy pointing at everybody else for doing this and doing that instead of pointing the finger at their damn self and saying, you know what? This is what I can do. This is what I need to do. This is where I was wrong. This is where I take accountability. This is where I lied. This is where I told the truth. Instead of everybody trying to find a way what's wrong with somebody else, point out your own wrongs. As soon as you can come to terms with your own faults and your own flaws, then you find yourself in a position to where you can call other people's self out. But at the same time, why would you want to call somebody else's flaws out? Because you should know within yourself that there's no person perfect. So in theory, you got all these people saying, oh, Kamala's wrong, Trump is wrong, JD is wrong, Walz is wrong, Queen Elizabeth is wrong. Fucking the early.
Oh, she was wrong. She was wrong. We're gonna give her that.
We can point out. It's so easy to point out what another person has done wrong instead of taking a hard truth pill and looking at yourself and saying what part have you played in the wrong. And that's what's going to hit home with a lot of people is to say, me and you can talk about this till we blue in the face, but what changes and what impact are we going to make once we get off here? And we both do different things to make our initiatives known. So even if it's just educating people, that is doing something to feed into it. But if you just going to sit here and talk, if people want to sit there and talk and not fact check and not point and say, okay, you know what? Let me look at what my party done did and where we fucked up at. Or let me see where I done fucked up because I ain't vote this election. I ain't go to the primaries here. I didn't vote for the Senate here. I didn't vote for Congress here. What part am I playing in this? And
I like that you mentioned that. I like that you mentioned stateside because a lot of people on both sides sit here and talk about the federal government when they don't understand that the federal government it can't overreach over the states. So 9 times out of 10, or 10, right? You need to be concerned with your state, right? Because that is what's going to affect you the most. I honestly, we can sit here and talk about, the federal, but those people sitting in the Capitol building are the people that really be needing all the smoke. And I'm so
and they got all the money.
On both sides, the fact that they be sitting there they're sitting there like, oh, well, we're going to go on break, but yet the debt ceiling is here. And I do mean Democrats and Republicans. They just, you can do this when you come back. You at Martha's Vineyard and the country burning.
Right. Why are we out here? Napa Valley.
I got smoke for all of them. When I tell you, I don't like Chuck Schumer or Mitch McConnell. I don't like neither one of them because both of them to me act like they up here. And
we've seen what happened with Mitch, and that's what Mitch is very, and we've seen him glitch. So I'm just saying, Mitch done glitched. I'm just saying, you gotta be careful.
I gotta get another channel so I can talk about my theories, but because I can't talk about them here because I'm trying to build my channel. We're gonna get
close it out, Micca. Let you do your thing.
We're gonna get another channel.
It can hurt me too.
But I'll close with this. And you're like this. One of my favorite presidents is JFK. When he says, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country, is literally what we're talking about. Like, we as American people have to be more proactive and making sure these people on both sides of the aisle do what we need them to do, not them telling us what they're going to do, not us begging for them to do something with our money that they're illegally taxing us with anyway, but literally doing what you said and making them stand on it. And making them, and you talked about holding them accountable. Hold these people accountable. If they got in saying that they were going to do something for you and they didn't do it, make sure they don't get back in, because they need to learn a lesson. Like, you told me this is what you was going to do. I don't care that you only got 4 years. You said it. You ran on it. Guess what? You ain't do it. Bye. Right. And I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. This is what you said.
Well, he said Kamala gonna be fired in November, and I said, "Damn, Donald, didn't we already fire you?"
He be doing. He be doing the. I saw them little signs that said, "I said, man, this man got a slogan for everything."
That man big petty. I swear he got a 17-year-old. I swear he got a 17-year-old Social Security.
Oh my God,
media manager. Because I'm like, where does he get this stuff? But I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's like if you gonna fire her, bro, I put this in the comments. We already done fired you. We already done fired you, Donald. So you just coming back for a rehire. So I'm just saying, like, most times. I'm just calling what it is, because I'm like, didn't we fire him already?
HR might hire him back.
I'm just saying, like, that man came in that joint. Look, he got fired. It was like Jerry Maguire. He was like, "Who's coming with me?"
Hey, look, you want to talk about fire? You want to talk about fire? Joe over there sitting like Craig. How you get fired on your day off? Like, you chill.
But that's like Biden quit. Like, that Biden quit on this day, on the weekend.
Whoa, how you got to fire like that?
Like, he got fired. Trump already got fired.
So what you doing? Y'all know you ain't trying to steal boxes.
The man, but by the whole time, he was like, shoot, bump that, man. I'm gonna quit on a Sunday. Bump that. I don't want to go to work on Monday. No. I mean, as far as Trump would say, Biden sleep somewhere in the Oval Office. Sleepy Joe. So
I ain't gonna lie.
I mean, some of them jokes be a little whatever, but I'm like, you are the president of the United States, dude. I can't ride with that. I'm like, I need for my president to be a little serious or something. Like, you can't be out making fun of people like that.
Nobody knows what he said. Nobody knows what he said.
I'm not doing it. I'm going to talk about that off camera. I'm not going to even put myself on camera.
Oh man,
I'm good with impersonation. I don't want to do that joint.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in, for watching. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you to everyone who's been watching the channel. We've grown in less than 90 days. Went from 0 to over 1,200 subscribers in less than 90 days. I don't research on YouTube, so I don't know if that's a big thing, but I've seen a lot of channels not grow that fast. So I'm just very appreciative, and we're always open to constructive criticism. If you think it's something we can touch on more, if you think it's something we can stop doing, as long as it's constructive. We're open to it.
If we don't have like information,
send
us a clip with a soundbite, because Micca will bring it up and we can touch to it. But definitely, if you have like sound bites on Trump saying that he ain't racist, or if you have more sound bites of Kamala saying she black and she was, used to go to the ice cream truck and eat sunflower seeds with vinegar.
I like how you did that. I like it. She like, girl, send the clip.
Just send it. I'm open to it. Just for Jules, send me a message. No hate mail. Just all love.
I'm Pop Culture Micca.
Just right, Jules.
And you're watching Red Cup Talks.